What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, Myro has been going absolutely nuts, and I actually believe it's in a position in which it could cause another bit of a pump on Solana's ecosystem. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at Myro's price, then we're going to talk about what type of implications this could have for Solana as a whole before we go ahead and wrap this video up. So with that said, let's start off, of course, looking at Myro's price. So looking at Myro's price here, what you can initially see is that this thing has been actually following a ton of its technical analysis key zones. Now, I don't think TA really applies that well to microcaps, and although this one has done well and is getting bigger and bigger, I still consider it to be rather a microcap. But what you can see is that's not really mattered because it's actually interacted with levels as if it was $1 billion or a $10 billion company. It's actually pretty damn cool to see. Let's kind of talk a little bit about Myro's chart history so you can get an idea of why this move here is actually so bullish. So whenever we first started, okay, when Myro first started, we put in this ascending channel. Now it was just 2 touches on either side, so not the strongest channel, but it was pretty clearly a channel. Now, we all know ascending channels will almost always break to the downside. This was no surprise, but what was interesting was the fact that when we broke to the downside, we initially held the 618 to 786 Fibonacci zone. We used that zone to then back test that channel, establish this previous point of support into resistance, and then nosedive all the way to the 786 zone. So we immediately saw that we were now interacting with trend lines, and this early on in Myro's life cycle, it was already respecting key zones. From there, of course, going down to the 786 level and holding it is another massive sign that Myro had a mature chart, and I like the fact that we were now seeing what could possibly be the formation of some sort of, inverse head and shoulders or something of this nature, right? Now, of course, from here, now knowing that we had this little inverse head and shoulders forming, what you'd be looking for is this 2.6 level. That is the level when you're realistically going to see whether or not a crypto is going to make a break to the upside if it does have an inverse head and shoulders pattern of this nature. Now, what you can actually see is at that point is when I made my call over in HG Access. I just made an alpha report about Myro. I said that I liked it. There were 2 other cryptos I called alongside with it, and I said, look, I think that these can do extremely well if Solana keeps doing well. Now, that was at right around 0.024 cents, and if we kind of cross-reference that a little bit with the price, you can see, of course, that was right here, and I mean, this thing is up roughly, it was up at one point about 600 to 700%, currently up about 570%. So shout out to you HG Access members, and if you would like to be a part of HG Access, go down to the links down below. There's a full video for you to watch. Now, let's talk a little bit more. So, of course, we saw, again, this is when we made our call, then it started to do extremely well, broke this line. Once it breaks this line, where does it go? Back up to the ascending channel, clears this thing, which was a beautiful move to the upside. Once we clear this thing, we back test straight down, retest this previous point of resistance, establish that thing as support, and then go on to make a run to the all-time high, entering back into the channel, touching the top side of the channel. I mean, Myro is ridiculous. That is a very hard move to make. Not only did it get rejected off of the channel in its earlier days, it hit the 786 zone, fully extended back up to the channel, got rejected back off of it, went back down to its all-time high, held support on it, cleared that, goes all the way back into the channel, breaks into the channel, then hits the top side of the channel after the channel's been running. That's so difficult to do. Okay, so like I said, Myro is actually respecting these zones. All these back tests. Look at this resistance. Look at this resistance. Look at this support. Myro's moving like a mature crypto. Myro's moving as if it's $1 billion company. Can it be that? I don't know. Maybe one day. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, the fact that it's moving in that mature of a nature just says that, one, there's big dogs investing into this, because when the big dogs enter in the scene, you can start to kind of tell. You start to tell because the chart moves a lot more maturely. But secondly, it goes to show that Myro is actually one of those it's establishing itself as more of a legitimate crypto, which is interesting because it is still rather a meme coin. Now, the question then becomes, okay, what's next? Well, what I will say is that I would be careful. Okay, this thing is up, 700% since we talked about it over in HG Access. Once we start hitting highs like that, hundreds of $1 million in market cap, especially when the rest of the market's pulling back, I start to take a lot of profits, right? I at least get my initial out. At this point, I would be 2x out. So if I put $100 in, I surely would have $200 out by now, right? And I'm telling you, for what I put in, I'm already 2x out, okay? So I surely would be taking profits, and I definitely would be slowing down a good bit. I know some people aren't going to like that. You Myro holders may try to roast me in the comments. I don't care what you say. No one's gone broke when they've taken profits, and when something goes up 10, 15x that fast, taking some profits off the table is a good idea because the more macro pullbacks are usually on the way. Now, can Myro go up further from here? Oh, absolutely. And I think that it can over the long term, especially because of how maturely its price is reacting. But you have to be honest with yourself. This is still a meme coin. This is still considered rather a micro cap in the grand scheme of things. And because of that, at any given point, the thing could pull back 40, 50%. I don't want to be a part of that, right? I want to take my gains and I want to bounce a little bit. Okay. So I've left a lot of my profit in. I have gotten already 2x out, but I am starting to, even up the ante a little bit. Every 4, 8, 12 hours, I'm pulling just a little bit of profits while I can. Okay. And so with that said, from a Myro perspective, this thing has done amazing. Congratulations to all of you who've been a part of it, but maybe slow down just a little bit, because it wouldn't shock me, now that we are at the top side of that channel, if we do get a bit of a pullback, maybe towards what could be about 10 to 12 cents. Okay. Now let's talk about how Myro could be changing the Solana scene. What you have to understand is that whenever a crypto of this nature moves 10s, 15s, 20, 30 millions of dollars of market cap on an ecosystem like Solana, it's now providing more liquidity to that ecosystem. The devs have more money, the whales have more money, the normal investors have more money, all of these little projects have more money because people are excited, and it starts to generate a bit of volume and it starts to generate a bit of excitement. And so at this given point, considering the fact that Myro has now gone up, 10s, 15s, 20, 30, 40 million market cap, that is going to put a lot of money in a lot of pockets of a lot of investors who like Solana. They're on Solana's ecosystem. They're going to be excited. They're going to take those funds and they're going to put them somewhere else. So exactly like we did after Bonk, where we knew that we were going to see some other cryptos pop off. So we bought something like Myro, or we bought Dog with Coin back in the day, right? These types of cryptos. Now it's time to go look for other Solana-based ecosystemic cryptos that this money could flow into, because it's going to flow somewhere. Trust me, it always does. Okay. And so with that in mind, I'm actually going to probably make a video pretty soon here talking about the top 3 Solana cryptos I would be buying after this pump. If you like that video, let me know down below. I'm definitely going to post some recommendations down in HG Access. So if you want more access to more information with me and 10 other influencers, definitely go down there and check it out. But with that in mind, if you'd like more Myro updates, let me know. Of course, I can do that. And well, of course, I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.